Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump said there was a big force going towards Iran and he was watching the country very closely. Trump's remarks came aboard Air Force One on his way back to the US from Europe after attending the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. A US military aircraft carrier strike group and other assets will reportedly arrive in West Asia in the coming days. American warships, including the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, several destroyers and fighter aircraft started moving from the Asia-Pacific last week as tensions between Iran and the US soared following a severe crackdown on protests across Iran in recent months. European Council Chief Antonio Costa says European leaders have serious doubts about the scope of US President Donald Trump's Board of Peace. However, he said they are ready to work with the US and the newly founded body in Gaza. Trump has invited dozens of world leaders to join his Board of Peace initiative aimed at resolving global conflicts. Trump first proposed the Board of Peace last September when he announced his plan to end the Gaza war. He later made clear the board's remit would be expanded beyond Gaza to tackle other conflicts worldwide. However, experts say it could harm the work of the United Nations. Top US negotiators, including Steve Witkoff, meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow to discuss US-backed proposal to end the Ukraine war. Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev said that President Vladimir Putin had held an important discussion with three US envoys at late-night talks in the Kremlin. Dmitriev took part on the Russian side along with Kremlin foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov. However, details of the discussion have been withheld. This as Kyiv has announced it is close to finalizing deal with the US on security guarantees. US President Donald Trump has said the United States would work with NATO on Greenland's security. Trump said the plan he has for Greenland would be well received, adding that more details will be revealed in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, EU leaders heaved a sigh of relief over Trump's U-turn on Greenland as they met for an emergency summit in Brussels. They said they want an EU-US trade deal to be back on track. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen has remarked that the EU was successful in being firm but non-escalatory with the US. She referred to Trump's backing down on threats to acquire Greenland. She also said the European Commission will soon propose a substantive investment package for Greenland, the semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. Danish PM Mette Frederiksen has said Denmark has asked NATO to be more present in the Arctic. Her remarks come ahead of an EU emergency summit in Brussels. This comes amid repeated threats by the US President Donald Trump to control Greenland, a semi-autonomous Danish territory. Meanwhile, Trump abruptly stepped back from his tariff threats on 8 European nations and ruled out using force to take Greenland. He had further suggested that a deal was in fact in sight. Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez and her influential brother have reportedly assured US and Qatari officials that they would welcome President Nicolas Maduro's departure. According to an exclusive report by The Guardian, sources say that the assurances were conveyed through intermediaries. Rodriguez was sworn in on January 5th as acting president following Maduro's removal. Contacts between US officials and Delcy Rodriguez, then vice president, reportedly began in fall and continued after a pivotal phone call between President Donald Trump and Nicolas Maduro in late November. During that call, Trump insisted Maduro leave the country. Maine's Democratic governor challenged federal immigration officials to provide arrest warrants, real-time arrest numbers, and basic information about who is being detained in a sweeping enforcement operation in her state. She said residents have been left largely in the dark as fear spreads through immigrant communities. She alleged that state officials do not know where detainees are being held. The enforcement activity has sparked anxiety in Maine's largest cities, including Portland and Lewiston, home to sizable immigrant and refugee populations, particularly from African nations. European Union leaders held a minute of silence in honor of victims of several recent train crashes in Spain as they met in Brussels for talks on EU-US relations. A commuter train collided with a crane arm that swung into its path in southeastern Spain on Thursday. This has been reported as the country's fourth rail accident in less than a week. This comes just days after a high-speed train collision near Ademuz in the southern Andalusia region killed at least 43 people. On Tuesday, a commuter train derailed after a containment wall fell on the track due to heavy rain near the city of Barcelona, killing the driver and seriously injuring 4 passengers. US President Donald Trump blamed a noticeable bruise on his left hand to his high intake of aspirin. The bruise appeared after he bumped a table at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One as he returned to the US. That his aspirin dosage makes him bruise easily. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said Trump hit his hand on the corner of the signing table during his Board of Peace announcement. 4 doctors, 2 surgeons and 2 internists reportedly agreed it was possible that aspirin contributed to the bruising. US President Donald Trump has sued banking giant JP Morgan Chase and its CEO Jamie Dimon for $5 billion. He reportedly alleged that JP Morgan stopped providing banking services to him and his business for political reasons after he left office in January 2021. The lawsuit, filed in a Florida court, also alleges that JP Morgan abruptly closed multiple accounts in February 2021 with just 60 days' notice and no explanation. Overall, Trump claims JP Morgan and Dimon cut the president and his businesses off from millions of dollars, disrupted their operations, and forced Trump and the businesses to urgently open bank accounts elsewhere. Tesla CEO and former Trump aide Elon Musk joked about attending the World Economic Forum in Davos because of Trump's Board of Peace. During his address to a forum, Musk indicated that Trump equaled his idea of peace to little pieces of land which he aims to capture, including Greenland and Venezuela. Musk then added that all he wanted was peace in real sense. Musk, whose companies include Tesla, SpaceX and Starlink, also addressed what he felt the future may look like. He gave a high-level overview of his companies and said that robotics and artificial intelligence will set the tone for the future. The death toll in the deadly mall fire in Pakistan's Karachi has climbed to 67 after more charred bodies were recovered. Authorities have now collected DNA samples from 50 people to help confirm the identities of the bodies recovered from the rubble of the perished shopping plaza. The fire broke out in the basement of the Gul shopping plaza, a wholesale and retail market, and quickly spread to the rest of the building area in the Sadr area. The fire was brought under control only after 36 hours had passed. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi is all set to dissolve parliament today ahead of the February 8th snap elections. This in a move to capitalize on strong cabinet approval ratings. Takaichi, Japan's first woman leader, announced earlier this week that she plans to dissolve the lower house to seek public backing for measures aimed at easing rising living costs and boosting defense spending. A ruling coalition led by the Liberal Democratic Party holds only a slim majority in the powerful lower chamber, while the party itself continues to face low approval ratings and fallout from a series of scandals. Amid reports of arrests, detentions and violent incidents in Uganda post-elections, the United Nations said that Secretary General Antonio Guterres is closely monitoring the situation. Guterres was reportedly concerned by developments following the January 15th vote and urged all actors to exercise restraint. He emphasized this need to respect the rule of law and Uganda's international human rights obligations, such as rights to freedom of expression, association, and peaceful assembly. These comments come as opposition leaders Bobi Wine has disputed the election outcome and said security forces had targeted him and his supporters. He had warned that nobody is safe in the country in the present climate. New Zealand emergency crews continued searching for people feared missing after a landslide swept through a busy campground on the country's North Island following heavy rain a day earlier. The landslide hit Mount Maunganui on the island's east coast, bringing soil and rubble down on the busy campsite. Police said up to 9 people may be unaccounted for, including children, but there was no immediate confirmation of fatalities at the campground. The landslide followed days of heavy rain that soaked much of the North Island's east coast and triggered multiple slips. In the town of Papamoa, a separate landslide killed 2 people on Thursday. Damage from Cyclone Harry has exceeded $1 billion across southern Italy. This as violent winds and storm surges battered coastlines, ports and infrastructure and prompted large-scale rescue and safety operations by the Coast Guard. In Italy, the storm hit hardest in Sicily and Sardinia, where hundreds of millions of euros in losses to roads, harbours, beachfront facilities and productive activities have been reported. As the cyclone swept through coastal areas of Sicily, Calabria and Puglia, the Italian Coast Guard activated an emergency operational system deploying more than 100 naval, land and air assets and over 450 personnel in round-the-clock operations. A new analysis from Watershed Investigations and The Guardian shows that 50 of the world's 100 biggest cities are drawing water at levels too close or beyond what their regions can sustainably supply. 39 of those cities sit in the areas of extremely high water stress. Among them are Beijing, New York, Los Angeles, Rio, and Delhi. Cities including London, Bangkok, and Jakarta are classified as highly stressed. Water stress occurs when withdrawals for households, industry, and infrastructure exceed available supply. It is often the result of long-term mismanagement, now compounded by climate breakdown. An unusually brutal winter storm is set to pummel more than 160 million Americans as a stretched polar vortex sends a devastating blast of Arctic air, bringing heavy snows and freezing rains. Weather forecast shows Winter Storm Fern is likely to engulf an area well over half the length of the continental US, stretching from Texas and the Great Plains region to the mid-Atlantic and northeastern states. Scientists say the increasing frequency of such disruptions of the polar vortex may be linked to climate change, even though the debate is not yet settled and natural variability also plays a role. Asian markets posted modest gains in early Friday trading as investors waited for the Bank of Japan's policy decision, with rates widely expected to stay unchanged. MSCI's Asia Pacific Index outside Japan rose about 0.4%, while Japan's Nikkei inched up 0.2%. Market sentiment was supported by a continued rebound on Wall Street, where US stocks extended gains as the S&P 500 added 0.5% and the Nasdaq jumped nearly 1%. South Korea led regional gains with the Kospi up 1.1% for the third straight session. building on its historic move above the 5,000 level. However, tech stocks faced some pressure after Intel forecast weaker earnings, dragging down chip-related shares. Oil prices fell about 2% on Thursday, sliding to a one-week low as geopolitical tensions eased. Brent crude settled near $64 a barrel. The decline followed US President Donald Trump softening his stance on Greenland and Iran, reducing fears of supply disruptions. Trump said the US had secured permanent access to Greenland through a NATO framework and signaled he hoped to avoid further military action in Iran. Markets were also watching developments around Russia and Ukraine, where progress towards a possible peace deal could eventually lift sanctions on Russian oil, adding more supply to global markets. Further pressure came from US inventory data showing crude stockpiles rose by 3.6 million barrels last week, far more than expected. Gold prices surged to a fresh record on Thursday, breaking above $4,900 an ounce for the first time, driven by geopolitical tensions, a weaker US dollar, and expectations of Federal Reserve rate cuts. Spot gold hit a peak near $4,918, while US gold futures settled up more than 1.5%. Safe haven demand also rose after President Donald Trump said the US had secured permanent access to Greenland through a NATO framework, though details remain unclear. Silver and platinum extended their record-setting rally, with silver topping $96 an ounce and platinum jumping more than 4% to a new high. Palladium also climbed over 3%. The US dollar is on track for its worst weekly performance in a year, pressured by investors' unease after President Donald Trump's shifting stance on Greenland rattled markets. The dollar index is down about 1% this week, its weakest showing since January last year. The euro held near 3-week highs, while sterling hovered close to a 2-week peak. Analysts warn the episode has raised fresh concerns about US credibility and the dollar's long-term reserve status. In Asia, the Japanese yen remained under pressure ahead of the Bank of Japan's policy decision later on Friday. The yen traded near $158.5 per dollar, close to levels that have previously sparked intervention fears. Apple has asked an Indian court to stop the country's antitrust watchdog from seeking its global financial records as part of an investigation into its App Store policies, while it challenges the underlying law's validity. Apple is locked in a high-stakes legal battle with the Competition Commission of India, whose investigation accused the company of abusing its position on its App Store. The US tech giant has said it fears it could be fined up to $38 billion if the watchdog uses its global turnover calculation for penalties. Two major US investors in Coupang Inc. have said that they have petitioned the US government to investigate the South Korean government and potentially impose trade remedies over what they describe as discriminatory treatment of the e-commerce company. Tech investors Green Oaks and Altmeter said they have also filed arbitration claims against South Korea under the US-Korea Free Trade Agreement, accusing Seoul of mounting a campaign against Coupang following a consumer data breach that has caused billions of dollars in losses for investors. Spotify has rolled out prompted playlist, an artificial intelligence-powered feature in the US and Canada that allows premium users tailor playlists using their listening habits and commands. After its successful run in New Zealand, the expansion is the latest in a series of AI-powered updates on the Swedish streaming platform as it looks to attract more users to its subscription plans from the free tier. Spotify said the new feature would position users as active participants who direct the algorithm using their own words and intentions. The 2026 Sundance Film Festival has officially kicked off in Park City, marking the end of a historic era. This year's event is the final edition to be held in Utah before the Independent Film Festival relocates to Colorado in 2027. The festival opened with a tribute to its legendary founder, Robert Redford, who passed away in September 2025. While the Sundance Institute will maintain a presence in the state, the departure from the snow-dusted streets of Park City marks a significant shift for the global film community. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of this short break. Keep watching WION World is One.